meteorologist Kaylee Dion's in here as well today watching things. Kaylee, what do you have for us that you're seeing over there?
Well, we're always monitoring the National Weather Service chat where we're getting a lot of the reports coming in, and we just had an update that just came in of another big factor, flooding up in these spots here. Tarkio River Bridge there, just about 3E of Westboro on Highway C, reports of flooding approximately 2 feet of water over the roadway along that bridge there. So localized flash flooding is going to be a concern because we're seeing these thunderstorms are not moving very quickly, and this is the same spot that saw that rain for several hours this morning. So some flash flooding, and this is going to be in between Tarkio and Westboro where we're seeing this flooding. Now that storm is moving off to the northeast, so you're going to start to see that rain come to an end, but these same spots are going to see some more thunderstorms, JD, as we go through the rest of the evening. So not only is severe weather, tornadoes, wind, hail an issue, but we're also looking at that flooding threat, and that's a huge threat because we are so saturated out there and we're getting a lot of rainfall in a very short period of time out of these cells. So JD is going to continue to track the severe threat on this and these thunderstorms, the rotation, and you're looking at the vorticity, the velocity right now. What is going on that?
It looks like it's weakening just a bit. I'm just kind of watching this off to the side. It's not as impressive as it was earlier. Usually what you want to see here, we don't show this a lot. This is the wind portion of Doppler radar. Very, very invaluable to us. This is just huge to put a price on how valuable this is, I should say. You look at this here, the greens and the reds, what you want to see, what you don't want to see, what we look for is bright greens next to bright reds. That's an indication of very tight together rotation. You look at this, there are some bright green, we call these bins, each little rectangle in there, some bright greens, and here are your bright reds. So they are farther apart, which is good. That means this is more broader rotation, but nonetheless, that means there is rotation. There is circulation going on here. No doubt folks who are underneath this are probably seeing the clouds do some interesting things, so to speak, as this storm kind of rotates around counterclockwise this way and will be headed toward the Elmo area. I did hear we had some folks who were in the Westboro area, I believe it was, who were seeking shelter in a church. It looks like at this point in time, the threat for Westboro would be quickly decreasing as this storm crosses over the county line and moves more to the east. Do you have something new?
We actually right now do have a report of a tornado from a National Weather Service employee just about 7 miles northeast of Tarkio in Atchison County. So this is the cell that we're looking at on radar that has that tornado warning. It is moving to the northeast, so it's going to be moving over the Iowa state line, but now there is that report of a brief tornado. So I don't know if it's still on the ground at this point, but any reports, if any of you are watching us from up in that area, if you could tweet us, Facebook us, you can also email us at 41 Action News, send us your reports so that you are our eyes out there, and that's how we're getting some of these reports. So they have issued a new tornado warning for Atchison and Nottoway County until 4:45 because of this report of a tornado located 8 miles south of Coyne, and that's going to be moving to the northeast at about 35 miles per hour. So again, if you're watching us at home and you're in Atchison and Nottoway County, please make sure you're getting to your safe place, lower level, interior, away from all windows, and get away from any debris. 8 miles south of Coyne, a tornado was actually reported. It's no longer just an indication on radar. It is actually a tornado reported moving northeast at about 35 miles per hour. So going to continue to watch the storm as it moves to the northeast, and I will have any more information when I get some of these reports. JD.
Okay, thank you very much, Kaylee. And as Kaylee just mentioned, too, when you have an issue of a tornado in place, some of the main things you want to do, avoid those windows, get to a basement. If you don't have a weather alert radio with you or a TV in a basement, you can turn the TV volume up before you head to that shelter. And, of course, keep it on your 41 Action News station. We'll keep you posted. Our Storm Shield app is a great way to stay informed, too. It acts as a weather alert radio. You can also live stream us on your apps as well. Make sure you keep a cell phone fully charged, of course, for days like this, and always have that weather alert radio on you so you can kind of stay alert to what's happening. We'll go back to the radar in just a sec. I do want to show you we have the active watches in place. There is a tornado watch just for a handful of our counties in northwestern Missouri. This does not include Kansas City Metro. We do have a flash flood watch in place too, and as Kaylee told you earlier, these storms not really advancing too fast. They're training over the same area, dumping a lot of water, so that's going to really aggravate some areas that have already seen a lot of moisture. So flash flooding is an issue, and And now in this case, too, we have the active tornado warning. And last confirmed report now was that this did put a funnel on the ground, making it a tornado right there just west of the county line from Atchison to Nottoway County. Now, again, the good news is we have no major townships in the path of this storm. However, there may be some farmland out here. There may be some other areas that could still be impacted by this storm. As you can see, it makes its way to the east. Matter of fact, you watch this loop, the entire cluster is moving to the north-northeast, but the one storm in particular, if you watch this from Northborough, see it kind of take more of a southeasterly turn and kind of dive into that line a little bit. Those right movers you kind of got to watch out for a little bit, and that's where we have this spin up going on that storm. Let me take you back in a little bit closer here. There are the active warnings that we have in place. There is one which is going to expire. There's actually two tornado warnings in place. One for eastern sections of Atchison County and western sections of Nottoway County until 4:30. Now a new warning in place, which is more or less going to cover up the previous warning, and that will go until 5:45 as this storm should cross through and really impact the Elmo area or very close to. Let me go back and look at this in a little more detail. The radar is not picking up an actual defined hook at all, but as I showed you, this is kind of two storms coming together a little bit. So this is where we kind of have to abandon our normal radar and look at the wind portion. This is a new wind sweep. This is, I'll call this is good because we're not seeing those reds and greens come together. However, if you are in the area of Elmo, I would encourage you to get into your storm shelter if you're not already. Those of you in Elmo, in northwestern Nottoway County, this is the time to be in your safe place. You're going to want to be somewhere underground. A basement is the best place to be. If you do not have a basement, you need to get to somewhere sturdy. Centermost interior room of the home that you have, typically a closet or a bathroom. The takeaway here is you want to put as many walls between you and the outside as you possibly can when these kind of storms roll through. Again, this is no longer a radar indicated tornado. This was earlier one that was spotted on the ground. So this storm has a history of producing at least a brief tornado, and that's all it takes is a brief touchdown for some major damage to happen. So again, you folks here in northwestern sections of Nottoway County in the Elmo area, this is the time for you to be in your safe place. We are west of Highway 71, north of Highway 136 right now, northwestern sections of Nottoway County. Some new information coming in, Kaylee. What are you looking at?
Well, I first want to show a picture that's coming in. If you guys want to look right here behind me of a wall cloud. If you want to come back here, I want to show you this this picture real quick. It's a wall cloud of the storm that has a severe thunderstorm warning on it. That was just to the north and east now of Mound City, and this was sent in. You can always tweet us. Please send us in your pictures. Be safe while you're doing it, but please send them in. This is the storm that has a severe thunderstorm warning on it for the next 15 minutes. That is in Atchison County and Holt County. So that is going to be the storm just to the south and west of Maryville. You can see it there. Now back to the storm that has the tornado warning on it. We have Mark Manchester. He's the Deputy Director of Emergency Management with Atchison County, where this tornado warning is and where there was a tornado located just to the north of Westboro. We have him on the phone with us. Mark, what are you guys doing in your county? Have you seen anything? And what are you guys doing to keep the county aware?
At this time, we have storm spotters out on location observing the storm. It seems that right now it's pretty much passed through our county over into Nottoway County and possibly into southern Page County in Iowa. We observed some rotation probably 15 minutes before the warning was issued, both from our office and from local spotters, and through communication with the Pleasant Hill National Weather Service office, they decided to go ahead and place a tornado warning into effect for our county.
On top of the tornado and wind and hail threat, there's also the flooding threat, and there's just a flash flood warning actually issued until 8 o'clock tonight for your county, and there's rainfall rates up to 1.5 inches per hour out of that cell that moved through. Radar indicated, of course, but are you seeing any problems right now in regards to flooding, or where are some of the hot spots people should know about?
Actually, at this time, we have received a couple of reports. The Tarkio River to the east of Westboro, we had a report of approximately 2 foot of water over the road there on Highway C, and we also received a report of flash flooding at a location about 5 miles north of Tarkio on Highway 59. Along with that, we were in in communication with the National Weather Service office, the hydrological department down in Pleasant Hill earlier today, and we are expecting some very heavy flooding along the Tarkio River in the Tarkio and Fairfax areas, as well as the current locations starting probably late tonight, and expected crest will be tomorrow morning is what they're saying at the last update. So we've got quite a few things going right this time.
All right, well, thank you for taking the time away from all the busy work that you have. Mark Manchester, Deputy Director of Emergency Management of Atchison County, and actually SkyTracker, you're just looking at video, and they're up there near Atchison County right now. So we're going to continue to watch this. The tornado warning now, most of that's moving into Iowa, so we'll see what's happening with the storm just to the south near Mound City, and we'll go to J.D. Rudd for that.
Thank you very, very much, Kaylee. Appreciate that. We still watch and continue with this storm. I'm being told time recently, earlier, was when it was in eastern sections of Atchison County before it crossed over into Nottoway County. Anything new at all from the Weather Service?
I'm not getting anything new from the National Weather Service. No updates on any rotation other than what we had seen moving off into Iowa. I'm keeping an update on the National Weather Service chat and seeing what they're looking at. I was also watching the storm that's a little bit farther to the south. If we want to go ahead and switch over to Router 2, there we go. Or we can keep it up there down near Monroe. Watching a small area there where I'm seeing just a little bit of rotation just to the south of Monroe. Still, this is just a severe thunderstorm warning, but I know there was a wall cloud reported with this that we did get some pictures in, so that's something to keep an eye on. If you're Monroe, Maryville, it is a severe thunderstorm warning, but even just gusts up to 60 miles per hour can do some damage, as well as watching for any type of spin up that can happen fairly quickly. So this whole area right here back over toward really just to the northwest of Mound City all the way up to Atchison is an area that we need to continue to watch. And of course, I'm going to continue to watch the National Weather Service chat. It looks like they're getting some more information in. They're just looking at more storms that have formed along the line, so no new reports on any type of rotation, JD, at this point.
Well, as they say, sometimes no news is good news.
Exactly.
Thankfully, this one was supposed to go until 4:45. Have they canceled that now?
Yeah, the tornado warning for Atchison and Nottoway canceled at this point. They've also expired the severe thunderstorm warning. So right now we're kind of in a waiting period where we're watching these thunderstorms. We're getting more reports in. There's a couple unverified reports of a rotating wall cloud 5 miles west of Hopkins, Missouri, in Nottoway County. Another unverified report of a wall cloud north of Mound City. And I'm actually been talking with Jacob Honeycutt, our storm chaser, and he's actually just near the Skidmore area. And we have his live feed up that I'm about to go set up, JD, so we can get some pictures coming in from that out ahead of that line. Oh, we actually have Jacob Honeycutt on the phone. Let's go ahead and talk to Jacob really quick. Jacob, where are you and what are you guys seeing while I go ahead and go pull up your feed? Do we have Jacob on there? Jacob, can you hear me? All right, we're just lost Jacob, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here to the digital center, and I actually have up where they are right now and what they are looking at, and we'll go ahead and put this in play. And this is, again, the storm that just had the severe thunderstorm warning on it that no longer has that severe thunderstorm warning. But here's what we're looking at is this is a nice wall cloud here as the storm moves, and I don't know exactly what direction they are, so hopefully we can get a hold of Jacob here soon. But these are the storms that we're talking about. Again, they are now moving to the east. They are now near Mound City, stretching up to Atchison, this cluster of thunderstorms that we have on radar right now that are just to the west of the Maryville area at this point. So we've had reports of 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. We've had reports of hail, and we've had reports of a rotating wall cloud. So you need to make sure that you're really paying attention to everything that's coming in here. And Skidmore is just to the south of the Monroe area, and JD, you had it right in that right spot of where we were looking at. Here's Monroe, here's 113, and Skidmore is just to the east of it here, out along the leading edge of this line. And sometimes with these storms that kind of create a line, all of the energy is at the leading edge, so that's when you get those big wind gusts of 60 miles per hour or more. And then if you look back down here, here's where we would watch for any type of rotation that would be south of Monroe. So this is the thunderstorm now that we're going to be turning our attention to, still up near Atchison. Looks like we could be getting some hail as well as watching that broad rotation, but I haven't looked at any of the updates. JD, I don't know if you've looked at them, if the National Weather Service has reissued any warnings. We're not getting any watch boxes or warning boxes other than the flood warnings as what I see right now. And if we pull up very broad rotation, if any at all at this point, right here is where we were looking at. So we'll keep an eye on this. Again, we'll try to get Jacob Honeycutt on the phone, and I'm going to toss it back over to meteorologist JD Rudd. We're getting a ding. That usually means that we're getting some updates, so he's going to go run and check that out. And we're taking a live look right now from SkyTracker. Where's SkyTracker located again?
They're just south of Mound City.
They're just south of Mound City on the same thunderstorm?
Yeah, looking north of that storm from Mound City.
Okay, so he's looking at it from the west on the back edge of this, and a lot of dark clouds with it at this point. Now our other storm chasers are going to be on the eastern edge looking at it as it comes in that direction. A lot of heavy rain. There have been reports of a ½ inch to an inch an hour out of some of these cells. So these are some of the same spots that saw that rain. So we're also looking at flash flooding as being a concern through these areas, Craig to Monroe, and then all the way widening it out. You can see there is another cell back toward Hiawatha that is just now have a severe thunderstorm warning on it. JD, go ahead and take a look at that one.
Yeah, I'm going to look tonight. Anything new coming out from the National Weather Service, Kaylee?
No, nothing new. So no warnings that have been issued at this point, which is good news.
Yes.
We like to see that there are no warnings. Also checking to see if I've had any reports on Twitter from some of my followers. A really cool picture here. I would love to show this if you guys want to come around here on my Twitter page. Also it was sent to JD Rudd as well, taken 26,000 feet up, approaching Kansas City and northwest Missouri. You can see the cloud tops and just how, and you can also see an anvil there, which is when it's picked up by the upper level winds and starts to blow some of those clouds. So that's a really neat picture. We love to see your pictures coming in. Of course, if you're staying safe, we don't want you to put yourself in harm's way. But other than that, I have no other updates via social media, on Facebook or Twitter, and from the National Weather Service. So that's good news at this point.
It's very good news. So then I guess that would mean we'll spend a couple minutes kind of wrapping things up. If Justin and Jamie, if you guys want to make sure that you guys are ready to go, and we'll get on with the rest of the Now program as we've
near the Iowa border.
They are, yeah, mainly northwestern Missouri, northern sections of Iowa. Kaylee's in here working on a couple of things right now. We're watching the storms that we have, monitoring the National Weather Service chat rooms. The good news is, despite all the reports and eyes on these storms,
all right, we have a new tornado warning.
Are they going to issue the warning now?
Yep, the tornado warning for Nottoway, Missouri until about 5:15.
Okay,
so
that's going to be this storm over here.
Mound City, it's right near Mound City, moving east at about 40 miles per hour. There's no actual tornado reported, but there is that broad rotation.
This is for Nottoway, so this is going to be northern sections of Nottoway. This is going to be east of Atchison, so this is the storm right in through here. So there's the new warning, which will go until 5:15. It's the storm we were tracking earlier. This one now looking like it's going to go to the north and to the northeast. Let me go ahead and just kind of get you an idea of where this is going with the storm track right here from the monitor. This is going to tornado watch in place until 9 o'clock. New information coming in from meteorologist Kaylee Dion. What do you have for us?
Well, we actually have emergency manager from Nottoway County, Christy Foran. She's actually on the phone right now. Christy, thank you for taking the time. I know it's busy up there right now. Tornado warning currently in effect. What are you guys doing? What are you guys seeing?
Right now we have 7 of our 12 fire districts out acting as storm spotters for us. I've had 2 unconfirmed reports of wall clouds, maybe with some rotation, one around the Skidmore area, one about 5 miles west of Hopkins area. I do have law enforcement en route to confirm those as we speak. Earlier when the storm started coming through, the only reports I received were some heavy in the western part of the county. So right now we just have spotters out and we're just continuing to monitor the situation.
Okay, and some of the areas that are also under this tornado warning also dealing with some flash flooding concerns. What are you guys seeing with that?
I haven't had any reports of flash flooding yet. I do know that the Nottoway River and the 102 River that run through Nottoway County, the Nottoway River is currently out of its banks in the Burlington Junction area, and I expect the 102 River to be out probably in the Maryville and Arco area by later this evening, and that will pose some road problems in some low-lying areas.
Okay, Christy Foran, thank you for taking the time away from your busy job to talk with us. We'll be in contact with you coming up, but we are looking live right now at Sky Tracker. Let's go ahead and put that back up. Really impressive shot here of a lowering and a very broad rotation, but there is rotation. Still no reports right now of an actual tornado on the ground. There's a lot of chasers up there, including Jacob Honeycutt, who is one of our chasers, and they are continuing to give information because, yes, there can be a tornado warning out there for indicated rotation on radar, but then we also have to have the ground, the view of it actually touching the ground. But there's some lowering there, JD, and it is it's a really ominous looking lowering at this point.
Yeah, anybody in northwestern Missouri, this is going to get their attention for sure this afternoon, including most of our storm chasers. If we can take a look at Jacob Honeycutt's live feed, I know that we've got him out here. He's watching this very intently, and Jacob joins us back on the phone again here in just a moment to tell us what it is he's seeing. He is near this storm and watching it the last half hour to 45 minutes happening with these storms here in sections of northwestern Missouri. Holt counties and Nottoway counties, active warnings for tornadoes in place right now. Kaylee, anything new coming out from the National Weather Service as we continue to watch Sky Tracker?
No, still waiting for some more information on this. So they're just watching what we're watching right now with the lowering and the broad rotation on the storm spotters and our Sky Tracker out there. But I do want to show you, I do have a graphic you guys want to take. Router 2 at this point, a tweet was sent into 41 Action News from Joel Mueller, and this is sent in. I'm not 100% on the location of this picture, so if this Joel Mueller can send in another photo telling us where he is at this point, but you can always tweet at Kaylee Dion, at JD Rudd, at 41 Action News, also post on Facebook. Again, be safe, but that is what we're looking at in regards to pictures at this point. If we want to pull up the radar with just the warnings on there, here is what we're looking at without radar on top. We just have the watches and warnings. The area painted in the red right behind me is going to be from Mound City to Monroe. They've canceled the northern Nottoway because that was a mistake. It is just this line in this part of the cell that's going to be moving to the northeast toward Hughes, toward Monroe, Skidmore, and then back up crossing 71 Highway. So this is the tornado warning. Again, these are going to be in effect until about, what do we have for this tornado warning? Until about 5:15. So for a little while longer we're going to have this, and I wouldn't be surprised with the lowering and with the broad rotation that we have this extended farther as it moves off to the east. Very slow moving also. If we want to go ahead and let's put Sky Tracker up again real quick. They just have such a great picture right now of what we're watching. It's way better than what we're looking at on radar because a lot of you really don't know what all of that means. So this, when we're talking about rotation and you look at a cell and we look at the reds and the greens and we say the rotation, this is what we're talking about, and it's lowering. It is just a lowering. It's not necessarily two.
Yes.
They were asking some questions. It is just the broad.
Yes.
It's a very broad rotation, and so as it tightens up, it'll look a little bit more like one. So that's what you're looking at. If we can zoom out, let's get a bigger picture on Sky Tracker with Captain Greg. Let's go ahead and put that back up. You can also see the rain shaft off to the right on the far right side of the screen, and then of course the lowering that is happening in the part of the storm that if there was a tornado, look at all that heavy rain. Heavy rain. Some of these cells have produced a ½ inch to an inch per hour, and then there's the leading edge of it right there. Meteorologist JD Rudd is looking at the overall view.
Yes.
We have a lot going on up there right now, so kind of break it down for us.
Yeah, as we hit the top of the hour, we're going to break all this stuff down. We're going to reset ourselves. Just some housekeeping information.
Well, we just had some information come into the 41 Action News desk of a truck stop in Claremont that had to take cover, and nearby neighbors while this storm was moving through. They have reopened since then, but again, that was near Claremont where the thunderstorm is moving through, and we're seeing some of this broad rotation. It's good to take what they have done, and they closed everything down. They didn't worry about their business, and they took cover. That is what you need to do, especially if you're in the line of these showers and thunderstorms. We're moving radar around right now. If you look behind me here, you can kind of see exactly in the thunderstorm, really right over 71, where we're seeing some of that rotation. It's really just to the south of the Maryville area. It's going to scoot. The area we're watching here, I'm going to step down off my box there so I can show you. This is the spot right here that we're seeing that broad rotation. It's going to continue to move to the east-northeast, so it's going to move right to the south of the Ravenwood area. And so if you're in Ravenwood, you're just starting to see some light to moderate rainfall, you probably should start to take cover, because this storm does have the rotation. Do we still have Sky Tracker out there that we can put up, and not just looking at radar, but what the actual storm looks like? There you go. See that? And it's rotating and lowering. It's just a funnel at this point because it hasn't reached the ground. Once it reaches the ground, that's when it's considered an actual tornado. But we're watching this part of the thunderstorm very carefully. It's been showing these characteristics for a while. Back toward Mound City, there was the lowering and there was some of that rotation, and it still has that. So we're going to keep an eye on this with Sky Tracker, of course. Looking at the National Weather Service, Chad, this is where we get a lot of our information. They continue the tornado warning for Holt and Nottoway County until 5:15. Some of the new updates: it's moving to the east at about 25 miles per hour. Second rotating severe thunderstorm just to the south of Skidmore that meteorologist J.D. Rudd was just actually pointing out. Also, before I toss it back to meteorologist J.D. Rudd, flooding is a huge concern with some of these cells because we had a lot of rainfall earlier over these same spots. So flash flooding is just as dangerous, even more dangerous than watching the rotation in some of these clouds.
A lot of us can get caught up trying to see that funnel or watching those clouds, and you look at that, just really impressive. I do understand meteorologist Kaylee Dion has some new information coming in. Let's get right over to her and check in with what new information you have, Kaylee.
Yeah, we actually have some reports out of Northwest Missouri State that they are hearing the tornado sirens that's located near the Maryville area. If you have any students there, if you have kids there, they are putting them in safe rooms right now to be safe. The area of rotation, though, is going to be just to the south of Maryville. So that concern is going to be to the south, but it's good that they are actually staying in their safe rooms at this point, and they're getting them to that. We're trying to get somebody from Northwest Missouri State on the phone, but also back to the south and west, there's that other secondary area of rotation that could be moving directly toward the Maryville area. So you may want to be staying there for, if you're watching us right now, for a good period of time, because as we were just talking about, these storms are not moving very quickly off to the east-northeast, but two possible areas of rotation right now with these storms, plus a lots of heavy rainfall. With Sky Tracker, they showed a beautiful shot of the rain shaft there and how hard it's actually coming down up there. Still trying to get some tweets and more information from the National Weather Service chat. Looks like we're going to start to see some rainfall totals come in here too to get a better idea of what's falling out of these cells.
And just to kind of reset everything for you here, we're staying with us for the fact that it's just a funnel cloud, but I mean, nonetheless, still ominous looking and still something's going to get your attention.
And that's where that truck stop actually took cover at the neighbors. That's in the Claremont area, but it's now reopened. But yeah, with the tree line there, it's hard to tell. But I did want to show some things on here, and JD was showing it perfectly at the wall there. But I wanted to circle the two spots that have the best rotation. I was looking at it, and right here, and they're the little notches, because what you have here is winds that are moving out and then winds that are going to be moving in. So the outward flow and the inward flow, that's what creates that rotation. So that's where you're seeing those notches, and that's where that best rotation is. So near Conception Junction, this is going to continue to move to the northeast. So Bogle's going to be out ahead of this, so keep an eye on that. Also, if we look back toward the southwest, this is the one that's just to the south of the Maryville area, and that is another spot that has that broad rotation. Again, the good news is there has been reports of no tornadoes, but I know this spot back here, this part of the storm, that has been extended to 5:45, that tornado warning, because of that broad rotation at this point. So that was just an update from the National Weather Service, and it is until 5:45 just to the southeast of the Maryville area. So we're going to keep an eye on this for sure.
Kaylee and JD, we actually have Jeremy Hoffman.
JD and Gary and Kaylee say it all the time. The people actually reporting what they're seeing and experiencing.
Well, we hear that tone, and now we're familiar with that tone. It sounds like some new information coming in. J.D. Rudd tracking it, as well as Kaylee Dion. Well, guys, what do we know right now?
They've just expired the tornado warning for Holt County. So those of you in Holt County, take a deep breath and you can have a sigh of relief at this point. Still in effect, though, for Nottoway County, Missouri until about really 5:45 on the northern edge of this. I have a different look at this part of the storm that is still under a tornado warning. So it looks at how far the cloud tops are, which is actually off the screen at this point, more than 60,000 feet in the air. That's a huge thunderstorm. Then you look at the purples there, the hail core there, and these thunderstorms are just really large in this point. So that's another look. That's the 3D look at these thunderstorms. We want to go back to router 1 to what JD's working on at this point to look at the velocity at this point. What this is when you get the greens and you get the reds. It's the inflow and the outflow that we were talking about. And when you looked at Sky Tracker and the lowering, and when you saw that rotation, that's kind of, and JD's putting up an arrow there of where we're watching for that notch right there that he's moving it around just to the south and west of the Ravenwood area. That's going to have the best rotation there. Still a bit on the broad side, but and no reports at this point of any tornadoes on the ground. We're still looking to get in contact with some of our chasers to get any updates there, but just to the southwest of Ravenwood, JD, is where we're seeing that best rotation at this point.
Yeah, that's where it looks on the wind portion of Doppler radar, but when we look at the actual what we call reflectivity, or what traditionally some would refer to as the rain, Atchison County, but nothing new since then. I know meteorologist Kaylee Dion has been tracking things as well. Kaylee joins us now over in front of our large monitor array. Kaylee, what do you have for us?
Well, I wanted to give some time to the severe thunderstorm warning that's going to be crossing over the state line that you were just talking about in northeast Kansas, because there is a good size hail core there. You can see the pink as well as the red, also heavy amounts of rainfall. So what I wanted to do is let the people know across the state line, okay, when is this going to get to your house? So we put the storm track on here. We got about 6:02 in Napier, 6:07 in Forest City, Mound City at about 6:13, 6:26 in the Richville area, and Maitland at about 6:35. So with this storm, we actually have reports of up to really $half sized hail and reports of at least 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. They could be a little bit more than that by some of the reports I'm seeing from the National Weather Service chat. Also, we do have our storm chaser, Jacob Honeycutt, and he is out ahead of the actual line of storms that is seeing that rotation. He's south of the actual rotation. So if we look at this right here, here is where he is located. He's south of Conception, and that rotation is a little bit farther to the north between really Clyde and the Ravenwood area. But let's go ahead and take him full screen. And Jacob, can you hear me right now? Or where exactly are you located in regards to roads for people who live around there, and what are you seeing?
Hey, Kaylee, we are actually near Stanberry. We're actually just inside the city limits looking out into this storm. I honestly don't know what road we're on. We're off on a gravel road right now, kind of in an open field looking at this storm. And we don't see any wall clouds, funnel clouds, or tornadoes, which is great news as these storms start to line out a little bit. But what we are seeing is still some broad rotation that you and JD have been talking about all afternoon, and that has been kind of the story with this storm. We did see a brief tornado about 30 minutes ago on our way to where we were. We actually saw a horse get blown over. That's how strong the winds were with this storm, and we had some debris flying across the street, but we were able to get into a safer position to be able to see the storm, which is where we are now. Again, no tornadoes, no wall cloud, no funnel clouds, which is, again, great news, but we are watching this line of storms as it moves towards us. And we've been seeing about 60 to 70 mile-an-hour winds with this storm. We're getting ready to get that again. So we're going to watch it. We're going to continue to see if we get any more tornadic activity with the storm. And if we do, we'll bring that to you here on 41 Action News.
Jacob, I wanted to ask you really quick, where exactly were you when you were seeing some of that debris and the very strong winds? Where exactly was that location for people that are in the line of that storm that's now to the north?
We were actually, Kaylee, we were in the Maryville area. I believe we were in between Maryville and Ravenwood. That's where we saw the flying debris come in front of our car, and we saw some trees and a lot of limbs being blown over. And again, that horse got blown over right in front of us as we were sitting on the side of the road. That's how strong the winds were. So we're estimating about 70, maybe even more mile-an-hour winds with this line of storms as it moves through. And so even though it's not a tornado, the winds are still going to be damaging as the storm moves through. So even though it's not an actual tornado, it can still cause damage. So you need to be in your safe place as the storm moves through.
Yeah, that's a great point, Jacob. Thank you, Jacob, and stay with us. So we're going to go ahead and talk about the other storms that are around that. But Jacob Honeycutt, he's one of our storm chasers and always on hand for us, so we really appreciate that. But he made a great point, and I know JD has been saying this all afternoon. It's not just whether there's a tornado or not. The straight line winds can cause more damage even in some cases. So you have to make sure you're being careful. And we have a few storms that have that leading edge where we're getting 60+ mile-per-hour winds.
And the flash flooding too. So we have all kinds of threats on the table here this afternoon. In the last couple of minutes, a new tornado warning now being issued. They're going to reissue for the eastern sections of Nottoway County, and this is also now going to include. Yes, go ahead, Kayla.
I'm going to go ahead and take it here for a second. I wanted to let some people know that maybe live in the metro Kansas City or anywhere that's not in the immediate threat, but have family up there. I just went ahead and tweeted and sent this to my Facebook page. It doesn't have the radar on there at all at this point, so you can actually see what spots are in the tornado warning. It's got an arrow, what time, what counties, then the same thing for the severe thunderstorm warning, and exactly the counties and what time. So I just tweeted this from to my Facebook and also to my Twitter at Kaylee Dion, and you can go ahead and share it as well. And we're also watching in the digital center. We're still keeping an eye on here our storm chasers that are right now, their feet is having a little bit of a hard time, but look at this. This is actually just near the Stanberry area. They're looking to the north and also to the west. So this is that area of that storm that's under that tornado warning, and it looks like it's not a very clear picture here, but it does look like we have quite a bit of lowering there, JD. I want you to look at this. I want you to take this full screen of our stream that we have right now, and if they pan back to the right, again, they are right just to the north of Stanberry, Missouri. Their camera is pointed to the north and west, and I want them to go back in the other direction. I don't know if Jacob can hear me or not, but we'll keep an eye on this because I did see quite a bit of lowering. So while I'm watching that, Krista, Mike, you guys have been watching some of the stuff coming in. What do you guys have going on?
You know, they extended the warning for Nottoway County there and then moved it into Gentry County. We've been talking to the emergency management person from
2 hours now. So there is a flash flood watch in place and a flash flood warning in place for this area, mainly around Maryville. Yes, Kayla.
I don't want to interrupt you, but I do have a report coming in right now, so I want to get that out to everyone. Just a proof of severe thunderstorm warnings being a concern. Grant City reports of power being out in the city right now because of 60-mile-per-hour winds that just moved through here. Here's the leading edge of that, and it starts to bow out a little bit. All of that energy is toward the leading edge of that line, so you get that big gust of wind, 60+ miles per hour. It can knock down power poles, trees, especially since that ground is so saturated right now. That doesn't make it any better at all. So power reported out in Grant City that is under a severe thunderstorm warning currently until about 6:30 tonight. This is going to quickly move off to the east, so you're going to get that big gust of wind right along I-35 near Eagleville. So if you're going to be getting out on the roadways here, maybe wait until the storm passes because of just how strong that leading edge is going to be. Once that actual leading edge moves through, it'll be just the heavy rainfall that you need to worry about, but it's causing power outages, this storm, right along the Iowa and Missouri border. JD.
Thank you, Kaylee, very much. And kind of just to back up and reinforce what Kaylee just said. Kaylee, any new information, anything else you could pass along to us?
Yeah, actually, I have a couple of new things out of that exact part of the storm that is just moved through the Grant City area. I wanted to give you the 3D look of the storm. Look at how tall this storm is. It's almost more than 70,000 feet in the air, and that's heavy rainfall. That pink, even some hail core there, as well as the red. Heavy rainfall, it's very important because there are some flash flooding concerns right now in Grant City at this point. Here, city streets are flooding, water overrunning ditches and flowing across the roads. Also in Worth County, there is reports 1 mile west of Sheridan. Law enforcement reports water flowing over Highway 246, so just to the west of Sheridan there. And also reports in Grant City, multiple tree limbs 3 to 4 inches in diameter down across the city and power out in portions of the city, which we brought to you a little while ago. That is from this, and there is also also a tornado warning on that part of the storm. So still no reports of an actual tornado, but there is reports of damage as well as a lot of heavy rainfall coming out of this portion of the storm. And you don't think about it, but flash flooding is more of a concern sometimes than a tornado. So you need to make sure that if you go to a flooded roadway that you turn around. Let me go ahead and move this so we can move to different parts of the storm. You can see if we back it up a little bit, you can see where the part is just to the west, or just to the east, excuse me, of Grant City is where the stronger part of this thunderstorm is. And I'm going to shift it a little bit here so we can see just near the Allendale area is where that heavier rainfall is. The hail core just to the, really to the west there. And there's a closer up look at that where it kind of shows you just how high up. And a really cool way to look at this is when you get hail and hail is produced, it's because of what's happening here with the upflow and the downflow of the storm. You're going to get it up and then down and then up and down before it actually falls. So it freezes when it gets to those cold parts of the thunderstorm, and it gets bigger in some of these taller thunderstorms. So that's a cooler way to look at these storms. But heavy amounts of rainfall, flash flooding concerns right now going on in that portion of the thunderstorm. Grant City, Worth County, that's where it looks like the strongest part is right now, JD.
Or the Maryville area. I know Kaylee's been looking at a couple different things, watching the National Weather Service and monitoring these storms just at their intensity and their overall height. What do you have for us, Kaylee?
Well, what we have from the National Weather Service is just an update of some storms just to the southwest of us, southwest of our viewing area in central Kansas. So that's something we'll go back to. But what I wanted to show you is that part of the storm where we're seeing all of that flash flooding at this point, just to the south and west of Grant City. It's just over 69 Highway, going to be crossing over that way. Eagleville, we were talking about that spot. You can see just how tall the cloud tops are. When you look at a storm like this, it's nice to sometimes see it like this so you can see how it develops. And that's 60,000 feet in the air. That's more than 60,000 feet, that part of the thunderstorm. If we move it around a little bit, we're also getting reports in Harrison County, which is right here where we're at with this storm, of just an update, 60-mile-per-hour wind gust reported at Hatfield. So that's just an update from the National Weather Service at this point. But if we go ahead and move this around, you can see when you move it around to different parts of that storm, it gets smaller in some of the weaker portions of the storm where you're not seeing the heavier rainfall or you're not dealing with a hail core and that type of thing. But we are getting several reports of flash flooding being a concern now. But what I want to do is take off, go to satellite radar here, and look at the wide view. So I'm going to straighten this up and zoom it out, because we do have some of these storms here back to the south and west. That's what's going to be getting that severe thunderstorm warnings on it right now, just to the south and west of Topeka. And then that line's going to continue to move closer to the Kansas City metro area. So this is all something that here in the Kansas City metro area we're going to have to watch. The concern is going to be those straight line winds that it can be up to 60 miles per hour in some of these cells as they move to the east along the cold front. And then also, again, hail up to about an inch, and then also heavy amounts of rainfall. Let's see what the National Weather Service is saying with a new report in. Not seeing any new reports at this point, but this entire line is going to start to see some more showers and thunderstorms fill in. So we'll have more to talk about in regards to our entire viewing area coming up here soon. So everyone needs to be paying attention. Kristen, Mike.
All right, good information and good advice on that. And one of the things we're hearing about is power outages. We're now starting to get numbers of just how bad that might be. We're getting reports of Grant City.
Or the Maryville area. I know Kaylee's been looking at a couple different things, watching the National Weather Service and monitoring these storms just at their intensity and their overall height. What do you have for us, Kaylee?
Well, what we have from the National Weather Service is just an update of some storms just to the southwest of us, southwest of our viewing area in central Kansas. So that's something we'll go back to. But what I wanted to show you is that part of the storm where we're seeing all of that flash flooding at this point, just to the south and west of Grant City. It's just over 69 Highway, going to be crossing over that way. Eagleville, we were talking about that spot. You can see just how tall the cloud tops are. When you look at a storm like this, it's nice to sometimes see it like this so you can see how it develops. develops, that's 60,000 feet in the air. That's more than 60,000 feet, that part of the thunderstorm. If we move it around a little bit, we're also getting reports in Harrison County, which is right here where we're at with this storm, of just an update, 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts reported at Hatfield. So that's just an update from the National Weather Service at this point. But if we go ahead and move this around, you can see when you move it around to different parts of that storm, it gets smaller in some of the weaker portions of the storm where you're not seeing the heavier rainfall or you're not dealing with a hail core and that type of thing. But we are getting several reports of flash flooding being a concern now. But what I want to do is take off, go to satellite radar here, and look at the wide view. So I'm going to straighten this up and zoom it out, because we do have some of these storms here back to the south and west. That's what's going to be getting that severe thunderstorm warnings on it right now, just to the south and west of Topeka. And then that line's going to continue to move closer to the Kansas City metro area. So this is all something that here in the Kansas City metro area we're going to have to watch. The concern is going to be those straight line winds that it can be up to 60 miles per hour in some of these cells as they move to the east along the cold front. And then also, again, hail up to about an inch, and then also heavy amounts of rainfall. Let's see what the National Weather Service is saying with a new report in. Not seeing any new reports at this point, but this entire line is going to start to see some more showers and thunderstorms fill in. So we'll have more to talk about in regards to our entire viewing area coming up here soon. So everyone needs to be paying attention. Krista and Mike.
All right, good information and good advice on that. And one of the things we're hearing about is power outages. We're now starting to get numbers of just how bad that might be. We're getting reports of Grant City